All right, Money Morning Live. It is 11:30. It is time to talk about crypto with our boy Nick Black. What you just heard before, that was the sound of AI. Let's bring in Nick in 5, 4, 3, 2.
You know, you have a month like January and you're like, yeah, man, I'm doing good. Like you add an extra comma to your portfolio. You're like, woo woo, everything's good. And then you talk to one of your clients from Dubai who tells you about his experience in a 7-star hotel. Now, you might have some questions about that. You might say, but don't hotels only go up to 5 stars? Isn't 5 as many stars as there are? Eric,
I
have you ever
was
seen this?
no, I was counting, and I never have heard of a 7-star hotel. Is this a new thing, Nick? Because
Well, this is what's better. There's no such thing as a 6, but in Dubai, it goes 1 through 5, 7.
is that like godly?
You want to know what it costs you to get one bed,
Oh God,
one bed in a 7-star hotel?
no idea.
He got one of the cheap rooms and it was 3,200 a night.
Wow.
Cheap ones.
I need to see a picture. You got to get photo proof so we can see what this even looks like. Or that's probably illegal. You
Jesus.
can't even take pictures of these
Oh,
things.
for the nice rooms? Yeah, it's
Wow.
so much. It's so much. Anyway, so no matter where you are, we're all fit. We're all little fish. None of us are whales. So calm the enthusiasm. Now, I will say this. There's some baby whales. I don't know what a baby whale would be. Like a, there's like different classifications of where you are in the crypto world. If you have X amount of tokens, you're a this, you're a that. I think with most projects, if you have like a million of them, you're a whale. But then what happens is you might have way less. You might have 10,000. You might have 1,000. And then the token rockets, you are a whale. I mean, you certainly wouldn't say that someone that had 1,000 Bitcoin, which is a $10 investment in 2009, $10,
Wow.
that now has many, many tens of millions of dollars. You certainly wouldn't say they're not a whale. They a whale because they invested $10. So when you have an asset class that's forming, there's no other thing on earth that you can look at other than the last time an asset class was forming, which I know the heavyweights know this. Any non-heavyweights, do you know what the last asset class is and when it launched? Eric, how many people do we have in the chat?
Over 2,000 right now, Nick.
Okay, so over 2,000, I'm guessing 300 to 400 of them are heavyweights or AICI. If you're not, do you know what the last asset class is and how long ago it was? Well, the bond market is correct, but you got it wrong by a few hundred years. It's the bond market in the late 1600s. Not tulips, a little bit after tulips. But yeah, late 1600s. Does anybody know why? Eric, do you know why? Why was the bond market created? Why did they create this weird nebulous government debt market?
Educate me, Nick. I like the tulips better.
No one actually went bankrupt during the whole tulip thing. It was a bunch of rich people gambling. No one went bankrupt. That whole thing gets anyway, whatever. It was to finance the war against France. So the British government created these war bond type things, what we would call war bonds now, to finance the war against France. Who'd have thought all you need to do is scream really loud and the French will just drop their weapons? But that was it. That was the beginning of the bond market. So sometimes people look at the crypto space and they compare it in the wrong way. They're not looking at an industry similar. What they do is they look at the tech boom in the 90s and into 2000. They go, okay, let's look at what Amazon did. Let's look at, nope. You have to look at the crypto space as it is now and compare that to some amount of years into the creation of government debt. That is a big market. I mean, government debt. All of them do it. The whole world. Every government, you got a government, you're going to issue some debt. That's the way it works. So you make sure that when you're comparing apples to apples, it's other apples. So we're 10 years in. We're in 1704. We're in 1710 of the expansion of the government debt market. In your mind, you could look at that and say, God, that's pretty early when it looks like the crypto space, it seems cool. Well, it's illiquid and crazy and weird and insane and incredibly, sketchy most times, but you have way more information than we did back, obviously, in 1696 or whatever. So it's not quite the same. It's not going to take 300 years to fully develop the crypto space. Probably takes like 20. And we're about, 13 of the way there. And just look at how fast AI has onboarded. Eric, do you know how many people got into GPT, signed up for Chat GPT in January?
Oh, I heard the number. It was the fastest growing social type. It's the fastest ever. It was
the fastest growing onboarding experience of
in history.
Humans. The only thing that moved faster was the Spanish flu.
That's interesting.
Meaning it's only been outpaced by virus. No human invention, no nothing has ever been as fast as the onboarding experience. You are more likely to use ChatGPT than you are to catch Ebola.
It's good. That's a little scary and it's really cool at the same time.
Fastest in human history. So when you're comparing things, I just think people are making the wrong comparisons, especially the people that don't believe in crypto. I don't like crypto because it doesn't matter if you don't like it. You need to pay attention to it. Matter of fact, if you're a fiduciary, like if you manage money at all and you don't understand crypto, you're probably going to be fired. Your clients will fire you because you're losing. Like for a few years, you could say, I don't know, this Bitcoin thing, I don't know, man. But after like 13 years, and Bitcoin is the most appreciating asset in human history still, and now you have I just don't know where people's heads are at. It's a funny thing about people would rather be right than be rich. Eric, do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? What's
Nick,
more important to you?
I'm doing everything I can to be rich, man. I'm doing everything that I can right here. I'm trying to make my way. I want to be like some of those heavyweights, man. I heard you made four of them became millionaires this week, right?
At least 4 that will come forward. Yeah,
that's awesome. 4. Yeah, I want to be one of them. Yeah. I want to do that. Yeah.
But it's not just about that, because that's an arbitrary number, and a lot of that is where you started from, right? Like, remember the joke in Stellana is, how do you want to make $1 million with Stellana? Start with 10 million.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
And so the thing is like this: when you're looking at this space, don't let your pride, because you're a trader, something that won't exist in the next 6 to 8 months. It really already doesn't exist. If you're being intellectually honest with yourself, that doesn't really exist. Trading squigglies doesn't really exist. These are all just forms of very well thought out gambling. And so you need to be honest with yourself and say, okay, I have pile of money X. How can I amplify pile of money X by as many multiples as possible before humans are no longer in the workforce? You know that that's coming. If you don't, let me ask the chat. Do you believe in the next 12 months, there will be more humans in the workforce or less humans in the workforce? More or less? Let's see. We got 2,000 people, right? We should get at least 40 answers.
At least 40. You know how the internet works.
We should at least get 40 answers. Now, see, this is what I think, and also what, everything in the world is telling us, including all the data. And real quick, for those of you that don't know, we covered this Tuesday. You guys know that the employment number in January was all bogus, right? You know how that was achieved? and how disingenuous they are by quoting it. And I mean, they like Janet Yellen and all that. You guys all know that was a jackwagon move, right? Eric, do you know why that number? Do you remember it was like a 500,000 and change print? New jobs, like woohoo!
All right, tell me more.
It was a readjustment, yeah, based on population and a couple of other metrics from 2022. So what they do is they take all of the inaccuracies of 2022, and then they add in some estimation on population growth, and they just pull a number out of their dollar sign, and they put it into January. And the idea is to kind of it's like a bank reconciliation, like, okay, let's get back to neutral again. So that number is a fake number. It is an admittedly fake number, even by the BLS. They just take all the inaccuracies and then add some monkey math in it, which is a Hollywood term. And they take all the 22 inequity in numbers and they just pile it into January to kind of get good again. That number is nowhere close to accurate. So when these idiots parrot it, what do you think is going to happen when the February numbers come out? Man, we got 500,000 we got 60,000 new jobs. Is the world going into deep deflation and all, like, you? So just be smart about when you get these inputs of information and how they spin this stuff. Remember, the Fed can never be wrong because the Fed doesn't do anything. When the inflation comes down, they'll say, look what we did, which is a joke because nothing they do matters. But that's a whole other discussion. That's a heavyweight discussion. All right, Eric, why don't we do this? Why don't we attack the Q&A first?
Okay.
Then we're going to look at the markets. There are some pretty yummy things out there, but let's get our questions out of the way first.
Yeah, sounds good, Nick. Let's start with this one right here. Hey, Nick, I was staking NewNet and Singularity DAO and SDAO on Singularity DAO website and neglected to check for a few months. That's normal. A lot of people will put it there and kind of leave it. The website is different, and I cannot see my staked coins anymore. Do you know the remedy to the situation?
Yeah, it's just tricky. So what you do is you go, okay, you have to look in the vaults. So when you look at, I used to have that website pulled up, but anyway, you have these different kind of vaults. You need to go through there and check the vaults. And then when you connect your wallet, you click My Vaults and refresh the page, and it'll show you the vaults where you're, like, if you were staking NewNet in the unlocked little vault thing, it'll then show your tokens. It'll then show your rewards. And you have the option to, you can withdraw and harvest, or you can just harvest. The difference there is harvesting means just taking your rewards, pushing them back to your MetaMask account, and then you could restake them. Harvest and withdraw means you're basically taking all the stuff and just even your existing stake, and you're booting it back to your MetaMask wallet. Does that make sense? I hope that helps. But they do have a lot of, go to the website. You can bang around. It takes a minute of banging around. And let me just attack that question. The question about the U.S. banning staking. The problem is that not all staking is created equally. What the U.S. doesn't want, this is what I believe, the U.S. doesn't want situations like Gemini and Genesis, where Gemini doesn't quite tell the truth, and they tell all their people, yeah, you got earned, we're going to stake, we're going to do all this, give us your assets. They then take them, send them over to Genesis. Genesis stakes what they can, takes a profit, sends a little bit back to Gemini, which takes some profit and sends a little bit back to their clients. And then they deploy the rest of it in whatever weird ways they do it. And then when it doesn't work out for the people at Genesis, who are mostly idiots, they then tell Gemini, hey, listen, the money it's locked up or gone, or we're insolvent. And then Gemini goes, sorry, fellas, you guys lost all your money. You should have read the fine print. Well, if I was Gary Gensler, I wouldn't want that crap either, because retail investors are thinking they're putting their money in some safe place, and then these jackwagons, probably through negligence or idiocy, are squandering it. That is not staking. That is scammy dumpster fire garbage. They also don't like, and if you go to the Howey test and you look at the way Ethereum staking currently works, where you lock your tokens up and they have them, okay, that's different. See,
I didn't get that. Could you try?
Siri's starting to answer questions. I think she's got AI. When you are staking through Cardano, you point your tokens like votes, but you have your tokens. There's no lockup. There's no nothing. If 3 a.m. on a Saturday night, you're like, man, I'm out. You're out. You just unstake. You're out. Matter of fact, you don't even unstake. You just send your tokens somewhere else. Staking is simply pointing at an elected representative. It's like voting. With Ethereum, it's not quite so clear that it's not an investment contract. Because think about it. You're taking your tokens, you're locking them up with some third party. They are taking those tokens and staking, and they are doing all this work, and they may or may not give you a reward. And if they screw up, they get slashed, money gone. That looks a lot like an investment contract, bro. If you really want to follow Howey and be honest and mature, that seems sketch. So I would say there are different kinds of staking in the way Ethereum, and Charles Hoskinson spoke to this, the way Ethereum staking is set up is kind of questionable. And it probably deserves closer scrutiny. But not all staking is created equal. And what they're also going to do, the SEC is trying to prevent the greatest harm. They're not evil, right? The SEC is not evil. They may be stupid or they may be negligent, but Gary Gensler's not evil and he's not stupid. But they kind of have to play like they're wearing a lot of hats. They have to cater to their caucus. They have to cater to the people that kind of put them in power. They have to do what they think is the greatest amount of good for the most amount of idiot investors. And remember, most investors are not the people here on Money Morning that are like working. And think about this. I want to see in the chat, how many hours do you spend a week involved in Money Morning, learning about economics, learning about finance, learning about investing? How many hours? 3, 5, 9, 10? Think about it. Dude, go do some research. That's a PhD program. You guys are doing a PhD program in investment, finance, and economics. You know more than they know. The dumbest person here, I say this with all sincerity, the dumbest person, I can say this for sure, the dumbest heavyweight is smarter than most of the money managers I've met that are pushing billions of dollars. Billions. The dumbest heavyweight. Why? Because you're doing a freaking PhD program in investment and game theory and finance and actual, big E and small e economics, not the bullcrap they taught in the 60s. So, and what are regulators doing? They're not studying. They're just playing catch up, and they're just trying to help the most amount of retail as they can. So a lot of times they make blanket stupid decisions that look stupid, but their intentions are in the right place. Elizabeth Warren, she kind of hates crypto, but you know what she hates more? She hates that she doesn't quite get it and that people are getting screwed over. I don't blame her for that. I blame her for kind of moving forward without having a depth of knowledge. But Eric, last time you talked about crypto with like your family or friends,
Yeah.
Are they super crypto woke, or are they kind of like, what? Who's the crypto what?
There's a lot of what's going on, Nick. Yeah, but then they get their eyes perk up and stuff when weeks happen like just happened a few days ago. But yeah, they don't know what's going on. And it's still a little sketchy to them, and they're nervous about it. Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't have the subject matter expertise. They don't have the subject matter knowledge. Either do regulators. They don't have time. Look at what these congressmen are supposed to be reading, 4,000 pages of documents a week, 4 copies of War and Peace every week. What with that, taking money under the table, graft, greed, corruption, dinners, luncheons, they just don't have time. So anyway, we got to be careful that you got to put yourself in their shoes. They're not going after staking. They're going after a kind of staking or a kind of incestuous relationship between exchanges and staking agents that ends up with retail investors getting screwed, and then the agencies that were just taking their money, Genesis, Gemini, and some of these others, yeah, then they just throw up their hands. Sorry, you guys lost all your money. We didn't lose any money because we told you there was one sentence in the 456 paragraphs. There was one sentence that said your assets are at risk when you give them to us. I'm sorry you didn't read that one sentence. So that's what they're after, and I think it's greater good, and I think that they will do more research because Gary Gensler's not an idiot. He may be inundated with stuff, but he's not a dummy. He might be a jerk. He's not a dummy.
Yeah, it's a difference.
They're different.
They are. All right, let's take this next.
I'll hang out.
You'll hang out
with Gary.
Okay.
I'll hang out with
Fair
Gary.
enough.
Yeah.
How about this next?
Loan him money.
No, you don't loan anybody money.
No.
Keep your money.
Loan anybody money.
How about this question, Nick? And then I want to look at the markets really quick because I think it's a really good opportunistic time. But right here, when selling coins, is it better to swap into USDC on MetaMask or on Coinbase?
Either one. Coinbase doesn't have any fees for swapping. I swapped out a not insignificant sum I actually went from USDC to USD because they don't have a lot of USDC pairs, but it's very easy on Coinbase. Now, I tend to rather keep my currency units spread among my MetaMask wallets and the different exchange accounts. I don't want to have any one point of, nuclear Armageddon if something should happen. I'm just assuming everybody's trying to steal from me all the time. So I keep it all spread out. But if you have USDC, I went from MetaMask to Coinbase. I just did a conversion. It was a free conversion to US dollars, USD. So USDC, you can convert it. Just click the button. There's no fee on it. It's just done. So that's where I would have done that if that was what you're trying to achieve.
All right. Well, let's do this, Nick. We have a few more questions, but I want to go look at the markets really quickly because we've had a bit of a dip in a lot of these AI tokens that we were talking about, which may present an opportunity. And a dip meaning it's still up crazy percent, but it's a dip from where we were a day or two ago.
Yeah. We were talking a lot of people because we were like, how can you guys miss this? Like, how do you miss, again, the minute you hear biggest onboarding experience in human history, as an investor of anything, your ears should perk up. Like, wait, whoa, what is this? So AI obviously has been like in kind of everybody's, but it's been rocketing ever since like late December into now. And then we had, of course, over the last several days, we've had a lot of our heavyweights taking profit because they got a 10x. And my rule is if you make 1,000% return on anything based on your dollar cost average price, you take profit. You take 20% immediately, full stop. You don't question it. You don't think about it. You don't, what if it does? No. You take profit because you got to take profit. So a lot of people took profit. They took their 10x on several assets, not just one. Then we reached the all-time high price for AGIX specifically, AGIX. Actually, not NewNet, just AGIX. And let me just come down here and show you. So it reached the 65 and change cents. It reached 66. And then it almost immediately, there are some big wallets. Now think about this. 2 years ago, a lot of people bought in at the very top of Whimsy when AGIX, to be honest, wasn't proven. It wasn't an asset where you could go for sure, this is going to be awesome. We were just saying, I hope. Well, we're past the I hope phase. AGIX is going to be massive. But it hit that all-time high, and you had a bunch of whales dump millions and millions of tokens, which is very healthy. It's not healthy when an asset goes straight up, because when it goes straight up, it's going to come straight down. It came down almost, not quite. It came down 50%. Almost 50% from the high. Not quite. But then you go, man, I gave up all my gains. But did you? It's still up. I hope you can see this, Eric.
Oh, I see it.
1,017.
1,000%.
It's up 1,017% after a 50% retracement. You get that, right? So there's still people this second that are at a 10x that haven't even taken profit. So I guess we're in game theory, this is a Nash equilibrium because people that needed to take profit get to take profit. People that missed AI and thought, well, I'm never going to catch it, and that's why I just won't look at it because sour grapes, you get another at bat. You get a redo. So I would urge people, especially those of you that are just not interested in crypto, because I guess you're not interested in retiring ever. I don't want to retire either, but I'd like to not retire and be wealthy. And for those of you that just are not paying attention, you don't realize if you think software is going to replace humans, which it is, then you want to have the best chance for success. Go listen, Eric. If you believe that Skynet is going to take over, and then there's an opportunity to invest in Terminators, would you be buying Terminator stock?
I don't know what you mean, Nick. Do you mean that Terminator stock has to do with Skynet?
Yeah, like Skynet. If you could buy Skynet and you knew Skynet was coming, would you be long Skynet?
Yeah, I'd like to get involved in Skynet if it was coming. I would believe in it, like we do a lot of these AI assets that you're talking about.
If you want to go long Skynet, you need to be a digital heavyweight.
Right.
You're not gonna ration. Well, I just think you might not do it correctly on your own. Not to say that you can't. It's just less likely. And you definitely want to participate in this. This is the last one, bro. This is the last one. And man, whew.
This is where you get those gains, Nick. And I mean, and we've talked about this before. I haven't been dollar cost averaging into assets over the past year or so. And I'm even thinking of taking some cash. I've been trading around my stuff, but I've been thinking of taking some cash, putting it back into the crypto markets a little bit and start getting a little bit more into this AI, a lot of these AI tokens, because I personally believe that they're going to do well. And even me, I like to follow you in digital heavyweights as well, because you're always there for those answers, for those questions, as well as the community as well. So it's never a bad idea to have you on the side.
Don't YOLO or FOMO into AI. There are some bad AI assets. There's some crap out there. So I would just say be very careful, be very discerning. And if you don't do it with us, do it with someone. All right. That being said, let's call it a day. We will see you tomorrow morning in the heavyweights. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Don't do anything. My poor insolvent drunk, strung out on meth grandmother, who's not Eric, who's not Brandon, who's not Nancy Pelosi, who's not Emeg, who's not Elizabeth, who's not Ryan, who's not, I think I hit them all, did I not? Wouldn't do, and on that note, did I leave anybody out?
Did you say Amin? Amin. He's very important to the team.
Yeah, but he's not a heavyweight.
I don't know. We love him.
No. Gabriel is. Gabriel is a beast.
Yeah, of course. Nick, good show today, buddy. Thank you.
All right, I'm out. Pew, 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 pew. Pew, pew.